Or do you want to be banging nails?
And with that, welcome to the podcast. This is Sean Peller, and I'm your host, and you are listening to What You Got. We're live here at 22 West Radio at Long Beach State University, Cal State Long Beach campus. 22 West has been doing a wonderful job of providing a lot of students here with an outlet to get involved in some kind of media, whether it's broadcast, doing magazine work, doing video work, other editorials. And it's a great place to, again, just allow that freedom to experiment and see what you like about doing some type of radio work or broadcast work. And it gives us this platform to be able to do this show. So very grateful to be able to be here at Long Beach State and also 22 West Radio. So again, this podcast is called What You Got. We have been able to go over a couple things. The last discussion that we had was a lot about perception and being able to have the perception of trying to flip things from a negative to a positive to kind of realize where you are, what you're really in control of, and really, again, trying to tweak that perception that we have to hopefully allow us to be okay with what's going on in our lives and not so much hooked on maybe the negatives or things that we don't have, or even the things that we don't have in control. So perception was the last episode that we have. Today, we're going to be talking about how everything is temporary. So this fits right along with that perception of things. And when we want to discuss temporary, a lot of that negative anxiety, which again can fall into that depression, is this connotation that this feeling is going to last forever. It wakes up with us, it goes to sleep with us, it's draining, it drags along. It's that cloud that you see with the rain and everything else is sunshine, and you're just walking through the streets with your head down, and it's just this rain cloud just pounding down on you because you think this is going to last forever. And it's just not necessarily the case. And it's good to try to remind ourselves that this is a temporary moment. And it can be really hard when you're stuck in the middle of it because it just never seems to go away. You'll have these temporary flashes, right, that are the positive ones where maybe you're in a good conversation or you're listening to your favorite song or enjoying your favorite meal, what have you, that for a couple moments that negativity leaves you and you forget about it for a couple seconds, couple minutes, maybe an hour. But it's almost like that clarity is the temporary piece, and that heavy negative feeling feels like that ongoing, almost permanent feel that is that monkey, the whole world on our shoulders, monkey on our back, that we just can't seem to get rid of. And so today, we want to really focus on the negatives being the temporary and this ongoing journey that is our lives, which is the positive thing in our life, that we are able to, again, change our perception about some of the things that have happened, knowing that they have happened, and what we learn from it, what are the positives, and how we can move forward, which can be very difficult. But again, once we look back at it from a distance, as we all know, time does heal. It is very helpful that those are the temporary moments, and our entirety of our lives in this journey is the positive one. Every day should be a blessing. And I think if you're able to start your day like that, and again, it's not easy, I'm still practicing myself, but when you're able to start your day that today is a blessing, and everything that comes into my life today, there's going to be some kind of positive that comes out of it. That's a good way to start off that perception. And so I want you to be able to think back to a couple of things that have happened in your life that have caused you to feel like this permanent, heavy stone feeling in your chest or in your stomach that just lasted a long time. Maybe it was weeks, months, could be anything from breakup, you lost your job, you had some big health thing in your family that was hard to get over, a big fight, whatever it may be, something that really pitted you. And going back to those moments of feeling like this feeling never feels like it's going to end. Like, it just was this heavy feeling that you wake up every day going, it's still there, and it feels so permanent. Now, if you're able to say that happened 6 months, a year ago, what have you, I'm sure there's still some feelings there. But if you go back into that time of how it felt so permanent, and then now you reflect back on it, even if it was 5 years ago, when it lasted 5 years ago, how that has now shifted, and it seems almost like a distant memory. Yes, there's bits and pieces that you remember about it, but it's gone, and it's a temporary part of your life. Even if it was a chunk, let's say, a nice chapter, it's in the past. And so when we're going through things, and some things may be tougher than others, is to really tell yourself, you can tell yourself 100 million times over, this is temporary, we're going to get through this isn't permanent, right? And don't get me wrong, there are some things, maybe, something physical happens to you where you now have a disability, or, I recently had a friend who was in a motorcycle accident, and he's now permanently blind for the rest of his life, and that's something that he has to deal with. And so there are things like that that are hard to get over, but I think even for him, he's in a much better place now than maybe he was 6 months ago. He's been able to, work on some things, learn about ways to deal with things, learn about how himself as a person, his confidence, his character, his personality, who he is, kind of, re-grasping that a little bit. There are moments, I'm sure, where it's heavier than others, but I can almost guarantee you that it's been more positive lately than it maybe has when it first happened, right? And so it's difficult. It's difficult for everybody because everybody's situation is different. All their timetables are different. But within yourself, something that, again, that you have control over a little bit more is your thoughts and your perception and your feelings towards things. And the more you're able to tell yourself that this is just a temporary part of my life, this is one chapter of my life, this was one mistake, this was one achievement, what have you, and you're able to, again, move on from that, you're going to be able to feel like you can live in a more present lifestyle. And I think that's really the main thing that people who are going through this are all looking for, is how do I stay more present? How do I enjoy this moment right now and not feel like the past is dragging me back and holding me down with these heavy chains, and I'm trying to figure out everything that's going on ahead of me. And so even the present moment is this temporary moment, but we really want to be able to live in that temporary moment as much as possible and just enjoy that, because at the end of the day, that's really all that we have, is that moment, this moment right here, right now. So how do we enjoy this temporary moment? So even for my friend, when I'm able to see him laughing, or just having a good conversation with his wife, or enjoying his puppy and his cats, whatever that may be, being able to enjoy those moments and to be able to expand on those by saying, hey, that was really nice, that's something I was in control of, that was something that I was able to kind of forget about everything else going around me. And that's really all that I have at the end of the day, is that moment with that person doing that thing. How do I just enjoy that? And again, it's that perception, going back to our last episode, of, what are the positives that are happening right now in this moment? And that's really, again, I want to say it again, but that's really all that we have. And if you're able to hammer that home, everything else, before and after becomes those temporary moments in life that no longer exist. You give them as much power as you want. And sometimes we don't want to give it that power. It's just our brains are giving it that power. But again, we tell ourselves it's temporary. We tell ourselves, it doesn't affect us anymore. If we're able to move on from things as best as we can, to stay in that present moment, that's really what we're looking for, right? Those feelings of anxiety and depression that are pulling us future in the past are those feelings that are going to cause us to miss what's going on right now. And so the whole point of today is to really focus on reminding yourself that everything's temporary. So every time you get caught up in something, this is temporary. Every time you get frustrated or flushed over something, this is just temporary. And this is where the meditation really comes into hand. Being able to sit down, take a couple of deep breaths to help you kind of get over that hump or whatever that gut feeling is, those tensions, and to really get back to, okay, how do I want to be? What is the ideal way for me to be right now? And I think it's getting back to the point of being you. It's really feeling good in your own skin and being yourself, which is sometimes the hardest thing. And it's because, again, we're getting pulled in every direction. And then, how did I look in that? What am I going to look like if I do this? But really, the whole thing is if you're going back to the joy of the moment, being present, like, are you enjoying yourself right now? Are you being your full, authentic self? And that doesn't mean you're spilling yourself to everybody all over the carpet and all that. But are you able to enjoy you, be able to laugh, smile, enjoy the moment as much as you can for that moment, and not worry about all that other stuff? And again, you don't want to be careless. That's not what we're getting at. But again, it's being authentic and genuine within yourself, and knowing that you're, just enjoying today and doing the best you can, and right now is all that matters. I really think that this is something that's helped me tremendously. I've had, really, really great family members who have shown me this. I have a cousin who has told me to practice this, tell yourself it's temporary 100 times a day. Don't get so caught up with this feeling like, here it is again. It's just like, no, this is just temporary. It's going to go away. Because then, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour or 5 hours later, you go, oh yeah, I don't even feel that way anymore. That was just in that moment. And then I have an uncle who was just, able to just show me how much every day is a blessing. I mean, he's been through all his own stuff in his life. Some of the stuff that, I will never experience or never be able to feel what he felt in those moments. But to know that he's been able to share with me how every day is a blessing, and how much I've just enjoyed the moments with him has really taught me those same things about how everything's temporary, and it's just what are we doing in this exact moment right now to just enjoy what we have, right? We have this body, we have our spirit, which is more important than that shell that's around us, the people that we're able to experience things with, the music, the food, whatever brings you that joy. And again, to have some discipline in there to continue to move along, but also to have that forgiveness within yourself that we'll be able to get to eventually in another episode. But I really wanted to focus on today of, again, that everything in life is really temporary. The timetables may change, the situations may change. It'll be different for everybody of that perception. But when you're going through things, don't hold on to them and let them control you. Really just let them slide and be blissful in the moment, that this temporary moment is all that you care about. And when you're caring about that, it is being to just enjoy it for what it is, enjoying what you have for what it is, and knowing that it's going to end and letting it come and go. Bruce Lee said, be like water. And this is the perfect example of just a lot of ebbs and flows of life. And I think when you're able to have that present mindset and understanding that and accepting it, I think you'll be more aware of opportunities that are coming around in your life, because you will be more present to just accepting everything for what it is. So that's our show for today. I really hope you enjoyed this talk about being in a temporary state of mind and not getting so caught up in what's happened to you in the past and how you can't change it, and not knowing what's going to come in the future and trying to control it. But really, this temporary moment right now is what you got. And the more that you can just enjoy this for what it is, and just knowing that this is it, and it's cool, and it's just what it is. Just enjoy it. Enjoy this temporary moment with me, what you're listening to right now, what you're going to be doing after this. If you're just doing, again, just a car ride with your favorite song on, going to grandma's house, whatever, just enjoy that. Enjoy that temporary moment. That's what I have for you today. Sean Pellin, and I hope you enjoyed this temporary episode on this podcast, What You Got. Thank you.